Yes. Here we go. Okay. So again, I want to thank everybody for coming, and we so graciously really, really excited to have Dr. Chalmers with us tonight. And he is the guy that has put our detox together for IDLife. And when it was announced at ID Revolution, we were all really, really excited. I'm on round 2, day 20, and things are going really well here. It's very smooth, as he said. So Dr. Chalmers, if you can give us a little bit of insight on, how this came about and what you're doing with it. And then we're going to have a few people ask you some questions, and then we're going to give 3 testimonies tonight. So thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I've been using this detoxification process for about 8-10 years. I used this with Josh and a bunch of the other guys that Josh knows. And so when he came on and took over CEO, he came and asked if I would bring what I do for very customized, personalized health to everybody. And so it was kind of funny because it was like, that's literally the direct opposite of what I do. But we were able to design something that everybody can use to clean the body. So we're going through the process that I designed for fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, and PCOS, and Lyme's, and all that type of stuff. And so that's what we're doing. We're cleaning the body in a very specific, customized way. So we go kidneys, liver, and then we start killing the parasites, and we start killing the yeast, and we restore the body with probiotics. So that's the pathway that we're going through. And the goal is, if we can get the body back to original physiology, it'll do great things on its own.
I just muted myself so it didn't echo.
So yeah, so what, it's probably easiest to go with questions. What questions do you guys have so far? And we can kind of go through and knock out some of those.
Okay, does anyone have a question? Do you want to put it in the chat and then I can call you out? Say me. Okay, Jim Dowd has a question. Go ahead, Jim.
Hey guys, hey Dr. Chalmers, how you doing? And thanks again for your time, man. This is amazing. I'm on my second go around actually, but a lot of question I get a lot from some of my customers, not all of them, and some of the people that haven't done it yet, is the minimum of a gallon of water a day. That's for maximum to maximize this for you. But what about somebody that's 5 foot, tiny, but basically my wife Lisa, she's 5'1", she's tiny, she's 110 pounds. I've gotten that question a couple times.
So we had to kind of pick a standard number, and that's why we went with gallon. So what I typically tell my patients is 100% of your body weight in ounces. So if you're 110 pounds, let's try to get 110 ounces in. Now, here's the caveat. If you're like, that's cool, I can do that, but I drink 2 pots of coffee every day. Like, well, you're taking in tons of diuretics, so you're going to need to increase your water. Or you're like, I live in Texas and I work outside. You're going to need to get like 9 gallons of water in a day. So there is kind of an alternate function of like, how much water are you using throughout your day? Because if you're sweating a ton, we're going to need to bring that up. But if you're inside most of the day and the weather is good, 100% of your body weight in ounces is a very good goal to hit.
Perfect. Thank you. Just want everyone to clarify. That's clarified. Perfect.
Thanks, Jim.
From the master himself.
Let me see. Somebody has in the chat here. Mike Keenan, do you want to unmute yourself and ask your question?
Sure. Excuse me. Thank you, Dr. Chalmers, for being on with us tonight. I deal with people who have gallbladder issues and those who even have had their gallbladder out. And could you give us some insight with regards to that?
So, yeah, the first thing that everybody has to understand is we've all heard of gallstones. There's no such thing. And the reason I say that is, so I don't know if you can see this, but this is my ring and this is my hand. This is my ring in my hand. It's not a hand ring. It's a ring that was put in my hand. We have to understand that gallstones are really liver stones that are pushed through the liver tubules, through the common bile duct into the gallbladder. So whenever someone says we have gallbladder issues, what they're really meaning is we have liver problems with congealing bile we are not addressing. And that's a B6 issue. So this detox, this is designed to help flush some of that stuff out. So the TUDCA and stuff that's in it is designed to start breaking those congealed bile salts up and moving them out. So for those of you who are old enough, you guys will remember what rubber cement looked like. So that stuff's basically what happens to the bile when it loses B6. That's why as those things start to dehydrate, they turn into balls or stones, and that's where we get gallstones. So this is going to help flush that stuff out. So if they don't have a gallbladder, they most likely have some type of either high stress situation or an MTHFR issue where they were not processing B vitamins properly enough. And that's why they lost their gallbladder to begin with. So they're going to desperately need to clean the liver and bring in high levels of methylated B6.
Awesome. Looks like Stanley Holmes has a question. I know he typed it in, but would you like to unmute yourself and ask a question, Stanley?
Hi, yeah, it's actually Marie Holmes. I was wondering if there's any medications or I guess like just general therapeutic classes that should be avoided when you're detoxing. So, you know, what can't you mix essentially with the detox pills from like a prescription drug perspective?
So this is a hard one to go through because everyone metabolizes things just a little bit differently. So for instance, I metabolize a lot of anesthesia very, very quickly. So I've woken up in every surgery I've ever had. So if I'm on a medication that is working and then I start increasing the health of the liver or the functionality of the liver, there's a high chance that it's going to strip more of that out of my blood supply. So if you're taking a drug for like anti-seizure stuff or, you know, anything like that, there's a chance that it could dilute the function of that medication. Blood pressure medication is a great example as well. So what we'd always want to do, this is one of the reasons we always tell people, talk to your doctor, because if your doctor knows you're doing something and you call him up and you're like, I took my medication and it didn't work, he's gonna be like, cool, here's how we can alter this. So it is possible to get the liver to the point where it will strip out of the blood medications, but just make sure that you're watching your blood levels on those and you're going to be more or less okay. But like I said, always confide with your doctor about what you're doing.
Okay. Yeah, mine was particularly blood pressure related. So that's helpful to know.
Cool.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Wendy, do you want to ask your question?
Sure. Hey, guys. Hi, Dr. Chalmers. It's Wendy. I met you at Revolution and we were hanging out with Mark Bennett after. So good to see you.
Yeah.
Hey, I have a quick question. I was asked by an associate today if the black seed oil was removed from the detox box. I guess they noticed it wasn't in there anymore. I'm not sure.
It should be in there at the moment. So it should be in there at the moment. So I would ask headquarters about that, what's going on with that, because there should be black cumin seed in there at the moment.
Okay. Thanks.
Yep,
It's in mine. I have it in mine.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
in mine. Yep, I just took mine evening.
We must-
Let's see. Rose Fitzgerald has a question. If you'd like to unmute
Hi there.
yourself.
Yeah, I'm just wondering about the detox, and has anyone come forth with testimonials in regard to helping with long-term COVID and COVID shot injuries? Thank you.
So long COVID is I'm trying to figure out what I can say to keep this so you can post it. Long COVID will be helped by the detox box, but not, it's a secondary thing. Is the body, you take inflammation out of the body, the whole body gets better. So COVID is a vascular issue, and quinine is the best thing to use to detach that spike protein from it. So that's a whole different thing. So like there's a big worry I have that a lot of people, because COVID spiked real crazily between May and right now. And so it's been really, really big. I think in one of my deals, I mentioned I'd sold in 6 weeks, I sold more COVID kits than I had in the past 6 months. So what I was worried about is that people were going to start having their hair fall out. People were going to start getting sick. They were going to start getting nauseous. They were going to start having all these blood pressure issues and equate it to the box. That's not, so if you had somebody who just started and then they're having, they're standing up getting dizzy and stuff like that, I would make sure they're checking their pulse ox, because at the moment there's other things going around. So the box isn't necessarily going to help. Like I would never say the detox box is a good idea to take for COVID, but it's a great thing to be taking while you have COVID, because it's going to help your body to detoxify all that stuff. Like when I tell people, patients of mine, Like if you get sick, the first thing you should do is castor pack your kidneys. And then once you find out the herbs you need, do a coffee enema with those herbs in it. And the reason we do that is to detoxify the kidneys and to flush out the liver. Because once those two detox organs are clean, it can suck all the bad stuff out of your blood a lot faster and make you feel better faster. So that's why I say that the detox box would be a good thing to be on when you get sick, or cleaning the liver and kidneys is a good thing to do when you get sick. But I wouldn't tell somebody, hey, I have COVID. Oh, you should do the detox box, because it's not going to be effective enough for COVID, but it's just gonna make the whole body better.
Awesome. Wazi, Warren Wolf, you want to ask your question?
Hey, good evening, Dr. Chalmers.
How are you,
Hear
sir?
me?
Yes,
I'm very
sir.
good. I'm very good, thank you. I have a friend that has one kidney that he lost many years ago in a motorcycle accident. Obviously, certain things have affected him in the past couple of years. I've told him about the detox. He's concerned. What is your opinion, or what are your thoughts on somebody that only has one kidney?
So again, if I was able to test this person, I would have a better understanding of their actual medical needs. However, I can tell you, I would always want to feed the organ that is doing work. If you only have one, I would want to make sure it got every single nutrient it could ever want, because I don't want the thing to get hungry and not work as well. So that would be my biggest piece, is that we're not, it's like an EDTA push is like when you force heavy metals through the kidneys, it can be very damaging to the kidneys. That's not the type of detox we're doing. What we're doing is we're feeding these organs so they can optimize their function and work at a higher level. So I would 100% tell this guy that he needs to take the kidney piece of this, because it's basically just food for the kidney.
Very good. Thank you very much. I agree with you.
That's really good. I like that. I was a dialysis tech, so. Let's see, there's no other questions up here. Does anybody else? I'm gonna come out.
Hi, Dr. Chalmers, it's Renata. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
I had a couple of my customers were asking about excess bloating. They were just feeling like they were peeing a lot, but they were still feeling really, really bloated. And then a couple had bad nausea.
Okay.
So can you kind of
So
give me a few instances?
Yeah, there's a couple different things on this one. So oftentimes the liver starts purging too quickly. It'll kick some bile into the stomach, and that gives you that biley throw up nausea feeling. So that's not something we're going for, but if it happens, it's not that big of a deal. That's one of the ways. I don't want to be like, that's how you know it's working. But the problem is that that's part of the detox reactions that we have. It's not no one likes it, but that's one of the things that happens. The bloating has a couple different issues. So there's bloating and there's constipation. Those have been the two big things we've been seeing. And I'll address those both real quick. The bloating, sometimes you're going to be sensitive to something that's in the detox box. Your body's just going to it's going to be irritated by it a little bit. And so that can cause some constipation and bloating. But the big thing that we see, and so normally when I do these, I usually do these in either 6 or 12-week sessions, but we do different things. The bloating and the gas thing is just part of what we see. So what I tell people is, imagine you have a clean room and a dirty closet, and you want to clean your closet. Well, halfway through this process, you're going to have a dirty room and a dirty closet before you get everything picked up and put away. So it's kind of what's going on. As you're stirring up the yeast and you're stirring up the parasites and you're getting this stuff all moving around, it can start to kind of create its own little inflammation as it works out. So that's one of the reasons that we see some of this bloating. And that's also one of the reasons we see some of the constipation. So on the bloating thing, typically that will clear out within the first couple, 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks. And a lot of people have had a lot of good success with a second round of the detox box on that. Because like I said, these are typically, I would normally do them longer. The other issue with the constipation is that, and some of the people have had a lot of good success with this. So bowel movements in general, the way our healthy bowel functions is we need water, which we're getting plenty of. We need some probiotic, which we should be getting enough of with the detox box. And then we need oil, salt, and roughage. So the roughage, the psyllium husk, we're getting pretty good on, but the two things I want to make sure is that we're getting enough oils and high quality salt. So like a Celtic salt or a pink salt or something like that. Salt, the adrenal medulla lives on salt, and that's what controls fluid levels in the bowel. So when we're having constipation, if we can increase the salt intake, not white Morton salt, that's very hydrophilic, but the other good salts, the pinks and the gray salts, that'll help feed the adrenals, allowing the adrenals to then control fluid levels in the bowel a little bit better. And then the oil helps lubricate everything. We flush stuff out. So your DHAs, EPAs, olive oils, coconut oils, avocado oils, those are all great to get in. MCT oils are great to get in as well. So that's going to help some of the constipation stuff. And what we've oftentimes seen is that if we can increase the bowel frequency, a lot of the bloating starts going away because those things that are creating the inflammation are also flushing out. So sometimes I'll talk to people and they're like, I'm super bloated. And I was like, when was the last bowel movement you had? And they're like, well, I had a small one this morning and a small one last night. And it's like, well, if we can get those flowing a little bit more, it helps out. That's one of the reasons that we do a lot of coffee enemas through the office. But this is not something that we're going to try to make. I'm not trying to make coffee enemas mainstream. So that's kind of the best way to get those things, make sure the gut's flowing, and that'll help out quite a bit.
Okay, and then just one more question, because I've had some customers who they absolutely love this detox box. So, well, all of them love the detox box, but a couple of them have said to me, God, like, I want to do this thing every month. Is it safe to do every month? And I'm like, well, I'm going to ask that question for you. I would say yes, but.
So I take about 40 pills a day. And most of them are for liver and detoxification. So I take basically a detox box and a half every month because I'm doing extra stuff. There's some other things that I can show you guys later that I also take. I take a ton of what's called Tomorrow Effects to clean the liver. That's the one I designed that blocks hangovers because it cleans the liver so well. So I take all of this stuff every single day, even on vacation, because I need to keep my organs as clean as possible. So yeah, you guys can run the detox box, just like, hey, put it on auto ship. I'm going to do it every single day. And that not only wouldn't hurt you, it would end up helping you. Because like I said, if you got sick, the best thing to do is be already feeding the organs that are detoxifying your body, because that virus, that bacteria, whatever it is a toxin. So as we start flushing that stuff out, we get better faster. If we get better faster, our body stays healthy longer, and the reactive oxidative stress, low oxygenation, there's all sorts of things that are going to be better for you long term, as long as your body's cleaner. And as long as you're living in the city and you're eating American food, even with good supplementation, we need all the help we can get. And so that's why I run these things every day.
Thank you.
Yes.
Awesome. It looks like Mary has a question. Mary, do you want to ask? You're muted, hon. You're muted. No.
Okay, thank you. All right, what about a person who was diagnosed with leaky gut and IBS? Is that going to help them or be detrimental?
So this is the version of the detox I do every single time for celiac, IBS, and that type of thing. So there's a couple other things you're going to want to remember when you're treating IBS, leaky gut, celiac, that type of thing. We have to get them off of gluten, and it's not the gluten. The wheat has glyphosate sprayed on it, and glyphosate is basically a Roundup. It's extremely toxic to the gut. So we have to get them off of that, which is funny because people are like, I talk to people all the time who are going to Europe, and they're like, I'm so sad. I have celiac and I can't eat the bread. I'm like, you can eat all the bread and pasta you want when you're in Italy, because they banned glyphosate 20 years ago. So you're good. And people go over there and they eat it and they're like, I felt great. It's not the gluten, it's the glyphosate. So we have to get them off that because it's actively tearing the gut up. Then what we do is we'll go through and we clean the liver and we clean the kidneys. We spend a lot of time killing parasites. Then we go through and kill the yeast and we bring back the probiotics. So this is the same pattern that I would use, but I would do more work on the parasites to actually clear out celiac and IBS. That this would be a good thing that they could do. It would help. I just don't think it would fix the problem.
What do you do to clean out the parasites?
Give me a couple months. I said, give me a couple of months. So typically, like in the office, I have a couple different antiparasitics I use. I've got a couple, coffee enemas are probably my favorite bet. But those two things, I've got like a superior detox I use in the office. I have something called RFA that we use in the office. And then we do coffee enemas with multiple antiparasitics in it to clean those out. You can also use hydrochloric acid, supplemental hydrochloric acid, which is phenomenal. It melts biofilms, kills parasites. It's one of the best things you can put in your body. but you have to be a little bit careful with it. You can't take it with the rest of your supplements. So you got to like take all your supplements, eat, then wait 30 minutes and take your HCl. We've seen great things from that as well. Bear garlic or allicin is great for parasites. So, all of those things are great. I like to hit it with as many weapons as I can because they might have 50 different types of parasites in them. And that's why I'll hit them with like 3 of those different things. And that's how we clear it out. But yeah, that's going to be something that is going to be focused on is getting these parasites knocked out if we can get that done. So, but that's gonna be the big thing for everybody is like, hey, if you're gonna do IBS and celiac, you got to focus on killing these parasites as well, or else you're never gonna get where you want to go.
Thank you.
Awesome. We're going to do a few more questions here, and then we're going to do our testimonies because we do have a 9 o'clock scoop call, guys. And we want to be, mindful for Dr. Chalmers' time. So Mike Keenan, it looks like you had an autoimmune question.
Yeah, just real quick. I think Dr. Chalmers has already been kind of answering this as he went along, but for something like Hashimoto's or any of those type of autoimmune diseases, is there a time continuum with the detox box that you would say, well, it's probably going to take me 6 months to a year or anything along those lines that we could start to give people hints?
So Hashimoto's specifically has a variety of things that are attacking it. So when you work on Hashimoto's, I prefer to reset the electromagnetic frequencies of the body first, and then go back through, do the full normal detox, and then you've got to really pump up the adrenals, and then you've got to feed the thyroid with iodine and things like that. Oftentimes, people are so devastated, especially if they're over 40, that you have to monitor their other hormones and give them testosterone and things like that to basically, I'm going to support half of what your adrenals are supposed to do. So the adrenals can then produce the hormones to balance the thyroid, make it go away. I look at all autoimmune diseases as preventable and reversible for a couple of different reasons. One, I refuse to not try to help people fix things. But 2, if you look at type 2 diabetes, which is the #1 autoimmune disease that we deal with on a regular basis, people turn that around every single day with diet. So what I look at is there's a reason why this organ decided to fail. And so we just need to figure out why it failed, either there's a chemical or a nutritional damage to it, and fix that. And that's how we've always been attacking things. So the detox box is definitely part of what we do, but it would be about 1/3 of the things that you need to do to fully reverse Hashimoto's.
Awesome. Looks like Stanley has a question about caffeine. Do you want to ask Stanley? That's not Stanley. It's Stanley's.
No, it's fine.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
I keep forgetting.
That's fine. I was just wondering if there's any kind of best practice around caffeine consumption and the detox box. Is it best to like abstain fully, or can you have a cup of coffee in the morning, or sort of what's the situation there?
So I'm going to answer this one in a couple of ways. I love coffee tremendously, not for the caffeine. I just love the way it tastes. If you told me I couldn't have coffee anymore, I would not be a happy person. So you have to look at a quality of life function first, because I know so many people who just psychologically need that cup. But overall, we want to reduce the caffeine intake we can. If you're like, I could take or leave coffee, don't drink it. If you love it, go ahead and have some,
Okay.
But the lower amount of caffeine we can put in our bodies, the better we're going to be.
Okay. And would you apply that same sort of like logic with gluten, dairy, kind of while you're doing this as well? Is it best, like, if you can do without it, just do without it, or does it not really have any impact?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that I try to get everybody to do without. Gluten, which has gotten really easy, as long as you don't have a nut allergy too.
Sure.
And sugars. It's even my keto people, obviously, but I've got everybody along the scale that I'm like, look, if you can just not eat sugar, don't. Like, if you like, I know you're not keto, but eat a keto cookie, that has monk fruit or something in it. Like, those are some things. If we can get the sugar out of the body, the amount of yeast and the amount of inflammation just plummets to the ground. So try to eat anything besides processed sugar.
Okay, that's easy enough. Thank you.
There you go. That's a good one. Willie Ray, where are you, buddy? would you like to answer your question? I don't know where he's
Yeah,
at.
I'm here. What's happening?
There you are.
How y'all doing?
Good.
Yeah. Hey, Doc. I've been bugging you a lot through Facebook Messenger. So I just want to see if you can give me like a brief description of the detox box, something that's short and sweet, because when I present it to my clients, I try to present it to them pretty much just letting them know the same thing that we learned at Revolution. But I always get a response back that they always say, well, I go to the bathroom quite often, not poop enough. And I try and tell them this is not something to make them poop. It's basically to help them reset the main organs in our bodies to help it function better. But I want to get your expertise on what's the best way to respond to that, because I'm getting ready to do a workshop on the detox box on Wednesday. So I want to be able to give some detailed information to them.
So the easiest way is whenever I'm trying, it sounds terrible, whenever I'm trying to communicate to somebody how important something is, I always tie it to their goals. So if it's like, yo, man, you want to get bigger, you want to gain muscle mass, that happens at night. If you're not sleeping, it ain't working. If we clean the liver, it helps sleep, because we're waking up between 2 and 4 in the morning. That's liver metabolism function, and that's what we need to do. You got to wake up, you got to clean that liver up so they can sleep all night and so they can get their growth. Because no matter anybody looks, they're going to see we grow at night, and they're like, I got to get my sleep better if I want to grow better. And so that's one of those things. You got to clean up the liver. That's going to happen. Plus, lactic acid in the muscles is great for like 10 minutes. After that, it's radically decreasing your body's ability to grow, to repair, to regenerate, to start burning calories normally again. So we need to strip that stuff out as much as we can. And so the kidneys and the liver is going to really help with that. So that the water is going to help too. So the way that our body uses water is like a dump truck. So it goes to the cells, and the cells go, oh my gosh, and they just fill it up with its trash. And then the body takes that blood down to the water down in the kidneys, strips the water back out, and excretes all the waste. That's how this works. So if we explain to people, we got to get these kidneys in the best functional position so that they can clean the water that's cleaning your tissues, so that your skin and your muscles and everything stay hydrated, stay functional, and get cleaned out so they can repair and grow. Because the longer we leave it lactic acid, the higher reactive oxidative stress we're going to have. That's more free radicals. That's more damage to tissue than you want. And so we're pushing ourselves in the wrong direction. So the kidneys and the liver are going to be hypercritical to what they're doing. Plus, a lot of your serotonin is made in the gut. If our gut has nasty stuff in it and ain't working right, we're going to have major issues producing serotonin and feeling good about ourselves. So this is much, much more than just trying to poop. Like, go take Metamucil if that's your job. But what we're trying to do is clean the organs that clean the body, so the body can have the highest quality of life and the highest function possible for the longest period of time. That's our goal. We're going to feed the body so we can help the body do what it wants to do. You take whey protein, you take branched chain amino acids for your muscles, you better take this for your heart and your liver.
Okay, that's perfect. Perfect.
Nice. It looks like the next two questions are about kids. So, and I don't know who the iPhone is, but Carol Ann, if you can ask your question and then add on to it, Dr. Chalmers, they're asking how old can someone to do the detox box. So Carol Ann.
I think Carol Ann said she's not available to talk, so she wanted you to get for
Okay,
her.
so she asked, can you ask what's age appropriate, especially kids who live only on white food and sugar? And she's not available to ask. So that's her question.
So as far as kids go, we've run a variety of different detoxes on kids all the way down, as long as they can swallow pills. I had my kids taking stuff. How old were they? 3, 4? I mean, as long as they can swallow pills, they're good. And the funny thing is that, you know, some of this stuff would be best suited for people who are 18 and over, because I don't know their actual chemistry. Like, for instance, my youngest son couldn't do the liver pill that we're using in this for a little bit. And so as far as when should we start feeding the organs of these kids so that they can be healthy, we need to do that as soon as we can. However, the box, I think that what we need to realize is that some of this stuff is a little bit too much for some of these young kids. So Like my 10-year-old's pretty solid. And obviously I'm his doctor, so I know. But he's 175 pounds and he's 10, he's 5'3". He can take things that normal adults can't take because he's bigger than a lot of the women I know. So it's going to be kind of kid dependent. And so the best thing to do is just talk to your pediatrician and be like, hey, this is what I want to do and this is why. How do I go about getting that done? And if you guys are using a more natural or holistic pediatrician, they're going to have a better answer for you on when your kid can actually get it done. So talk to your pediatrician, just be like, look, this is what we're trying to do. This is what we're trying to feed the kids. And then you guys can, try it out through them. That's probably going to be the easiest and best solution for you, because I've had people bring me stuff and I'm like, this would be great if your kid was 50 pounds more. So make sure you talk to your docs about it. If they know what they're doing, they should be able to help out a lot.
Gosh,
I have one more question.
Go ahead.
So I know you work with a lot of athletes. Can you just talk a little bit about how detoxing and doing something like this detox, what type of advantages does that give athletes in the short term and long term?
So the number one thing that this does for athletes is, so when you work with athletes who have events back to back to back to back to back, like a tennis tournament or a soccer tournament or a baseball tournament, something like that, what ends up happening is that the longer you play throughout the year, the more you drop off because your body is just getting beat up. But it's taking two things. It's taking damage, but it's also holding all that lactic acid that you worked off in yesterday's games, right? And so the better the body is at cleaning those things out, the better you're going to be. So this is one of those things that I've seen athletes where they don't drop off as much. Like one of my guys, one of my pro athletes came back in and gave me a great big hug, and he was like, the contract I just signed was because of what I did with you. And what happened was that no one could tell a difference, not even him, in the first quarter. In the second quarter, he was like, it's kind of like a dream. I think it's real, but I don't know. He said, third quarter, it's obvious. He goes, in fourth quarter, it's so obvious. People keep coming up to me and asking me what I'm doing differently because I'm such a rock star all the way through the fourth quarter. So, but that was the thing. We stripped out everything that was causing this guy inflammation. We worked at his food. We put him in a hyperbaric chamber. We detoxed the snot out of him. I mean, it was a lot of stuff, but he could really, really tell. Like I said, and as the season went on, the reason he got his contract was because he didn't fall off as far as the season goes. So a normal athlete would fall off 3% per game and 5% per season. He only fell off like 1% for the season. So he just looked amazing at the end of the season. And so he got signed. And so the cleaner we keep the body, the healthier it's going to be for the longer amount of time. So this is what I'm talking about when we talk about anti-aging, when we talk about, highest quality of life for the longest period of time. If we know we have stuff that can take these pro athletes and just detox them to the point where their body's not full of trash, so the oxygenation, the function of the muscles is still high, then we can do a lot of things with you and me who just have normal, I've got kids and I've got a job and I've got this stress and I'm breathing all this trash. We can help clean us up and keep our quality of life higher longer as well. So that's been the big thing that we've seen with the athletes, is just how much longer they can go. They just don't tire as easily. They're not done as easily.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Chalmers, Jim Dad here. So my oldest son, he just turned 22. He's going to be a junior at Penn State playing hockey, elite level hockey player. So, but he's trying to gain weight. But this would still be good for him. That's the catch. What's?
Oh no, this would still be great for him, because here's the thing: if he's trying to gain weight, that means he's lifting. That means he's taking in hopefully larger amounts of branch chains and that type of thing. So here's the issue: as you're tearing down this tissue and it's floating around your body, raising your ALT, AST levels, is raising your creatinine levels, is doing that type of thing. Your body has to be able to suck all that stuff out and normalize the body back to where it's supposed to be. So no, this would be a very important thing for him to do. All of my guys who are trying to gain weight or cut weight, as long as they're working hard, I got them on something like this, and to a varying degree. And most of the time it's this or a little bit stronger than what we're doing, because I've been able to focus down on exactly what they need. So this would be something that would be very important for an athlete who's trying to change his body function or just his performance.
Thank you.
Okay.
Dr. Chambers?
Yes.
Yeah, that's who I was going to call on next. Go ahead, Carol.
Okay. I can wait if I need to.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I have skin sensitivity issues. And I also noticed that it seems to be seasonal, but I notice if I eat something that's a little bit salty or too much acid or what, I actually get irritated right around the mouth area. And I know the detox is going to help, but I'm wondering, is there anything else I can do?
So this is a really good example of what I refer to as like the pizza effect. So you might not be super sensitive to a food, but you're sensitive to 5 or 6 things that all come together. So for instance, you might be sensitive to some gluten, and you might be sensitive to some dairy, and there's ragweed in the air and other things. And so when you consume this, it flares everything up. Decreasing the overall inflammation is going to be beneficial for this. However, I'd want to start figuring out what are you sensitive to and either eliminating that from your diet or desensitizing you to it so that you're no longer allergic to it or sensitive to it. Because that's gonna be the thing. Whenever we do like mold detoxification, people come in, they're like, I want to do mold detox. I'm like, great, here's the number for all the guys I know to go check out your house. And they're like, no, I mean my body. And I'm like, I understand that. We have to quit poisoning you before we can detox you. So we got to clean the house up first. So for instance, that's why I say, if you're eating things that are causing this, we need to stop eating those things if we can. If you're like, it's anything, well, then it's going to be a really serious liver gut clean, and that'll help quite a bit. You can also take histidine, which is an amino acid that helps the liver to clean itself out, and then make sure you're getting all your methylated Bs, B2, B6, B12 in, and that'll in folic, and that'll help quite a bit.
Okay, thank you. You said histidine?
Histidine, it's an amino acid. You can get it in most collagens, but you can also order it direct from like some of the online supplement stores. I can't remember the name.
I'm taking collagen every day. I happen
That's
to
going
be
to be
putting
beneficial.
it in my coffee.
Nice.
But,
So make sure you take some at night. This is one of the big things. So your body needs stuff to regenerate. So you can take it all day long. Just always take it at night, because then your body has those new amino acids to then go through and heal everything. So like isoleucine and leucine are really, really good for muscle growth and development. Histidine is really good for colon health, mucous membrane health, liver health, those sort of things. Tryptophan helps your body make serotonin. So these are things that we can get these amino acids in. It's just going to do great things for our body, because remember, we don't eat protein for protein. We eat protein for the amino acids. We digest the protein into amino acids, absorb the amino acids, then reconstitute them into whatever we want. So taking collagen at night, an hour before you go to bed, gives your body all the fuel it needs to regenerate and heal.
okay. In addition to that, I could detox again. Would you recommend that?
Absolutely. If you're having ongoing symptoms and this is starting to help, I would continue to detox until either they're gone or just, until that's just what you do. Because if you can do a detox and reduce your symptomatic reactions that you can see by 50, 60%, then we're at least reducing the ones you cannot see by 30, 40%. Remember, plaquing in the arteries is due more to reactive oxidative stress and inflammation than it is to anything having to do with cholesterol. So anything we can do to remove inflammation is a good idea. That's why if you eat it and you see it here, it's also creating it inside of you. That's one of the reasons I'm like, we got to get off that food.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
All right. Gina Marie wants you to come to Point Pleasant, New Jersey. And we're going to do one more question, and that would be Joanne Finger. And then we're going to, because it's like going on quarter. Joanne, are you here? She's asking about, can it help with skin issues in my 19-year-old's case, specifically severe cystic acne? That's a good question.
So we've seen cystic acne come from a variety of different things. The first thing I always do for acne is clean the liver, clean the kidneys, because the liver's job is to clean the blood, clean the lymph. The blood and the lymph are cleaner. Your tissues, including your skin, are going to be much cleaner. And remember, acne comes from the inside out, not necessarily the outside in. So cleaning the liver and the gut is going to be a big, big step forward. I like to always get those kids in and reset their electromagnetic functionality. So for instance, I had cystic acne for 20 years and nobody could figure it out. Like it's funny. I went to one of the best dermatologists in the area and he was like, I don't know what's wrong with you. And I was like, well, who do you send people to when you can't figure it out? And he goes, you. I send people to you for this. And I was like, well, great. Well, so what I figured out was I have a plate and 8 pins of titanium in this hand. I have a titanium rod that runs the length of my femur, pin in my knee, pin in my hip, screw in my foot. It's not just titanium, it's cobalt, it's nickel, it's a couple other things that I'm highly sensitive to. We reset my body's functionality to it. I'm no longer sensitive to those, and all my acne went away. So there's a lot of different reasons our bodies break down. So if we can clean up the liver and clean up the gut, we're going to make great strides forward. But if this kid has anything that's been injected into his body or screwed or bolted or anything else, he has a high chance that he's sensitive to those metals. So if you look at Essure, it's a permanent birth control device. It's causing all kinds of issues from their nickel sensitivity. So I would first check, does this kid have anything in him that he's sensitive or allergic to, and then go back through and be like, are you eating something that you're sensitive to? And it could be, almonds, avocados. Like, I've seen the healthiest foods in the world be terrible for some people. So that would be the next thing I want to go through, is a food sensitivity test and figure out, hey, what foods do I think you're sensitive to? Whether you're either doing muscle testing, which is my preferred method, or blood testing, I would want to go through and make sure that he's not eating a bunch of things that he's sensitive to.
Cindy, can I squeak in one more question for my customer, Tia?
Sure.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
And I promised her I'd ask this, and she's on here. She typed it in here. So being premenopausal, increase in hot flashes. Would the detox have anything to do with that?
Oh, it would not have anything to do with it. I don't think it's going to help much. So here's the fun thing about this. So women need testosterone as much, if not more, than men. So here's the fun thing. Hot flashes, night sweats, vaginal dryness, joint pain, and headaches are all estrogen issues. But the fun thing is that bone density, mental function, sexual function, muscles, ligament, tendon, everything that makes your body heal is a testosterone thing, and testosterone converts to estrogen. So what I always have people do is we'll give injectable testosterone somewhere between 5 and 8 milligrams twice a week to these women, and everything starts to get better. About 95% of the women, when we give them injectable testosterone, it converts to estrogen and all of their other issues go away. If they don't, I use something called Progestins Plus, which is a natural progesterone-based oil, and that's knocked out everybody else. We've never had to give anybody estrogen or anything like that. So that's the way that we start working on that, is that if you have a hormone deficiency, we have to fix the hormone. If you don't make insulin, we got to give you insulin or else you're going to die from diabetes. If we give people thyroid hormone all the time and nobody thinks twice about it. This is, D3 is actually a hormone. We give that to everybody. Testosterone is just another way our body talks to itself. If it doesn't have enough of that hormone, it cannot tell the body to heal and regenerate. So that would be the thing we'd have to start looking at increasing, is the testosterone and the estrogens. But remember, we got to keep the estrogens as low as possible, because if you're not trying to have a baby anymore, giving women estrogens, which cause tons and tons and tons of cancer. If you want to read those articles, just look up HRT, which is hormone replacement therapy, cancer, and type in NCBI. The NCBI is the National Institute of Health. That's where all the research articles I read come from. It's where all the real medical research is stored. And it'll just give you article after article about that. So be careful taking estrogen, but the testosterone will convert into the estrogen you need. So that would be the way that I always treat menopause. And we've had nothing but fantastic successes with it. So I would find somebody to help you work on that. We can help you, or you can find it. If your doc will help you, have them do it.
Great, thanks.
That's awesome. We really appreciate you, Dr. Chalmers. I'm going to turn this call over to Jennifer, who reached out to you. And Jennifer's going to bring on a few of our detoxers that are in our Spring into Fitness group that I know you've been watching very carefully. So, Jen.
Thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it. First, we're going to have Maureen give a testimonial. Maureen, are you with us?
I am.
Thank you for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome.
So tell us a little bit about your experience at the Detox Box.
I started my first detox the very beginning of June, and I believe everything that Cindy would tell me about it, so I was excited to get started. I struggled initially getting my water in, but I probably, in my first week, I think I did much better than any of the other weeks with the amount of water that was recommended. But the amount of energy and the clarity, I mean, like I was like overwhelmed with how much energy I had. And you see, I have this little puppy here. I ended up fostering a mom that had her little pups 2 days later and had a lot of complications. And I had to bottle feed around the clock every 2 to 3 hours. So that started like in the middle of the first week. And I couldn't have done it. I swear I couldn't have done it without being on this detox, because the energy and what I was able to do, I felt like Wonder Woman. It was amazing. I did have one issue with it, and that was a god awful rash. And it was actually from my shoulders to my waist. So it was almost like the areas that were being detoxed. I don't know how to explain it, but I did reach out to Cindy, and I was like, it was so bad. I was thinking, do I really need to stop this? But I didn't. And I'm so glad I didn't stop, because those 30 days, I just felt amazing. I really did. I would totally recommend it. And I am going to do it again. And listening to this segment, talking about having one kidney, my husband lost a kidney to renal cancer. And we were hesitant about him starting it, but he will be starting it now. I like the answers about cleaning it out and letting it do its job even better.
That's great, Maureen. Thank you for sharing that with us.
And Maureen's an RN, so she knows.
Yeah. Oh, it's good.
She really scoped it out before she.
I did.
So I just wanted to let you know that. Okay.
That's
Thanks
great.
again.
Okay, next, Mike Keenan is going to share with us his experience with the Detox Box.
Thanks, Jen. I appreciate it. Real quick, the 3 things I noticed right away is I started at 238 pounds and I'm down to 225. And I've been documenting that on my Fit 3D, which is a 3-dimensional analyzer. So I'm also looking at body composition as well. So that was a positive. My bench press had been going down because of right shoulder pain. It is now on its way back up again, completely pain-free, full range of motion, and no real hesitation with that. And the last thing I can give you objectively is that I've suffered with toenail fungus and athlete's foot for many years. And my toenails are cleaning up so well right now that I'm actually going to start wearing sandals again. So it's not completely done. I'm about today's the last night of our second box, and I'm not going to stop. I'm going to continue. So those are my 3 objective findings I find with me using the Detox Box. And again, my energy's real good too. So thanks, Dr. Chalmers. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Mike. That's great. Okay, and we have one more, and it's Jim Dowd. Jim Dowd is going to share his experience with the Detox Box with us.
Nice, thanks. Well, here's my detox tracker, guys, right here. And I'm on my second one, but Dr. Chalmers, thank you for this. So my bottom line, I did my first one. I started May 9th. I'm looking at it right now. I'm talking 0 bloating, no inflammation. My midsection feels better than when I played the NHL. I played the NHL for 17 years, for those of you that don't know. No bloating, no inflammation, no midday tiredness whatsoever. When I say 0 midday tiredness, I mean 0. And as someone alluded to before, the energy's through the move, the mental focus, but one of the most important things for me was my sleep. Sleep has been incredible since doing this. And I actually weighed 187.9 pounds the first day. Halfway through, it was 180.5. And the last day on my first one that I did, I weighed 179.0. And I was a little worried because I still go on the ice. I'm coaching hockey still and all that. I felt strong as ever on the ice at 107. I haven't been 179 pounds since high school, but I felt strong as could be. And I'm on my second one right now. I started my second one on July 1st. But yeah, Doc, this has been amazing. Jen and Cindy, thank you for setting this up. And I got a lot of clarity on some great answers tonight. And I'll be doing this. My one buddy that I played with, Brian Ralston, on the 95 Stanley Cup team, he said, Jim, he loves it. Him and his wife are loving it. He says, how often are you going to do this? I said, I'm doing this at least 6 to 8 months. After this call, I'll probably do it every month.
Yeah. So I'll have to post one of the pictures of all the stuff I take just in the morning. Because you're like, there's like 10. And I'm like, that's like, but I can take them all at once. So that's the other side.
That's great. Awesome, Jim. Before we end, is there anybody else that would like to share a quick testimony before we let everybody go? We have about 5 minutes left, so anybody wants to share that has done it. Otherwise, we will let y'all go. All right. Cindy, you have any final words?
Well, I'm really happy that we got to do this tonight. Maybe in a couple months or whatever, after Live It Up, Dr. Chalmers might come back again. Would you do this
I
again?
think we can figure that out. We'll definitely be able to figure that out.
So I would just like to say, if you, I think there might be some people on here that are looking to do the detox box and have not done it yet. Please reach out to the person that invited you to this call and get any more, questions answered. And if you're not on our Spring into Fitness page, ask to join that too. And share your testimonies, guys, because whatever's going on with you, it could help somebody else. So thanks a lot for coming.
And
Any
Insights
last
with
word?
Dr. Chalmers on Facebook, correct, Dr. Chalmers?
Yeah, Wellness Insights with Dr.
Wellness
Chalmers.
Insights, Dr. Chalmers. Love that site.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of good information.
Absolutely. Any last words, Dr. Chalmers?
I think that's it. It's gonna be fun. I'm excited to see how everybody does with it.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot, everybody. And let's hit the scoop. If you're an associate, let's see what's going on.
Thanks, Cindy.
Bye.
Thanks, Jen. Thanks,
Absolutely. You guys have a good one.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Good night.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Have
you,
a great
Doc.
night. Thanks, Jim.
Absolutely. Good night, guys.
Give you a Jim.
Bye-bye.
Ciao, guys.
Hey, Cindy, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Okay, so I was gonna do a post really on lemon water. I've been seeing a lot of people that had acne, gut issues and all that stuff. I was just reading a lot of stuff on lemon water, what Dr. Chalmers has been seeing a lot, how lemon water can really improve the skin complexion. It can remove acne. A lot of stuff that a lot of people don't, and will help you take water too. You can, no.